Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Immigration and Settlement with Faryal Hussain. Thank you for joining us. This is a show that you watch every Saturday, 8 p.m. on IPTV, on Voice of Toronto TV. Today we have two very important things to discuss. One are the International Student Program. I have with me a very special guest. I will introduce him in a second. And other than that, I have very important news for all of you जिन्होंने अपने पेरेंट्स या ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स को स्पॉन्सर करने के लिए एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट फाइल किया था पिछले साल. जी हाँ, देयर इज सम न्यूज़ दैट केम आउट यस्टरडे व्हिच वाज द 20th of July. वो शो के एंड पे आपको अपडेट दूंगी. अभी मैं इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहूँगी मिस्टर अब्बास अली. ही इज़ एन इमिग्रेशन कंसल्टेंट एंड ऑल्सो अ वीज़ा एंड स्टूडेंट कंसल्टेंट. ही इज़ बीन डूइंग दिस फॉर 10 years and has extensive experience in all immigration categories. लेकिन इनकी फील्ड ऑफ एक्सपर्टीज़ जो है वो स्टूडेंट्स हैं. इसकी क्या वजह है कि स्टूडेंट्स को आपने रखा एज फील्ड ऑफ एक्सपर्टीज?
I think this is a demand. Canada needs students.
Why does Canada need students?
That's the best mix of economic immigration in the future. You know, Canada is very well sought after country in the world, right?
Right.
They attract a lot of immigrants.
Right.
So how do they do that? They pick best of the best.
Best of the best.
They are called skilled workers. So same thing goes with students. Every year about 600,000 students come here. 600,000.
600,000 students from all over the world.
All over the world.
Are there any quotas for every country or
There's
no?
no cap.
There's no cap.
No.
Because there's this misconception that there is a cap. कि
No.
इस country से इतने student और इस country से इतने student.
Not at all.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. सुन लीजिए, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
There's no cap. So obviously Canada needs students for many reasons. अभी क्या कोविड की वजह से last 2 years से they are unable to meet their quota, the annual targets.
Right.
So Minister of Immigration, Mr. Mendicino, has set I think around 400,000 plus. How they're going to get it? From outside skilled workers, they are not bringing in.
Right.
So क्या कर रहे हैं कि alternatively it's easy for them to pick and choose from within Canada.
Within Canada.
So already एक बड़ा pool है जो कनाडा में है, young blood, local educated, you know, they are totally integrated. यहाँ की local study की हुई है.
Right.
They are already employed. So that's the best, I think, economic benefit.
So basically the International Student Program is a pathway for immigration. It's actually a stepping stone.
It is.
Right? Stepping stone कि जो यहाँ पे study के purpose से आते हैं, study करने के बाद इस society में integrate होते हैं and then they go on a work permit, तो उसके बाद PR, तो एक के बाद एक ये program ही इसीलिए बना है.
That's
for the ideal immigrant.
I think they need future. They're picking these students as the future immigrants.
Future immigrants.
It's as a matter of fact, there's official on record. Minister of Immigration has told many times officially that we want you to stay in Canada, quote unquote, because that's what they want.
That's what they want.
You know, they are shifting the immigration system is shifting from skilled to students.
To students.
Gradually.
Gradually.
They still need obviously skilled workers because there is a shortage of skilled people in Canada.
Right.
So
right.
they bring a lot of economic benefits. But student is another breed, so they are picking, imagine 500,000 students.
Wow. Actually, आज study permits के लिए एक पूरा program ही allocate किया because I get a lot of questions in my office because I'm an immigration consultant as well as a former immigration officer, as well as on the show. I get a lot of questions regarding study permits.
Sure.
तो मैंने सोचा कि Mr. Abbas Ali को थोड़ी सी ज़हमत दीजिए.
No, my pleasure.
ये to come and talk about this very important issue. हो सकता है ये आपके लिए इम्पोर्टेंट हो सकता है आपके किसी चाहने वाले के लिए या कोई भी आपसे इन्फॉर्मेशन पूछ ले. मिस्टर अब्बास अली की इन्फॉर्मेशन आपकी स्क्रीन पे आ रही है, प्लीज़ इनको नोट कीजिए. कॉन्टैक्ट हिम फॉर एनी स्टडी परमिट रिलेटेड एडवाइस or any other advice because you're an immigration consultant as well.
Yes, I'm licensed member of ICCRC for past 10 years.
Right.
So but my specialization, I love students.
I
love other categories too, but that's I think
right.
I'm into this more.
So I have a few questions here that usually there are a lot of misconceptions. गलत फहमी होती है, assumptions होती है जिसकी बिना पे कई दफ़ा मैंने देखा क्लाइंट्स गलत फैसले कर लेते हैं.
lot of myths
भी होते हैं, रूमर्स भी होते हैं और वो गलत फैसले आगे जाके नुकसानदेह होते हैं and then that hurts their application. So how many intakes are there in a year for international students?
आपने before I answer the question आपने बड़ी अच्छी स्टेटमेंट दी कि myth बहुत है. इंग्लिश की एक्सप्रेशन है too much information is misinformation. अभी क्या होगा कि with the Google different forums हैं students के पास, parents के पास, different friends, they talk.
Right.
Social media is everywhere.
Right.
So what happened is it's not like one size fits all.
Of course.
Every file is different, every profile is different, every officer is different. Even though every visa post is different.
See, I always say this, and I've said this in many other shows as well, previous episodes, that every case is going to be different. Even two siblings, दोनों international student के लिए apply करें, दोनों की file ही different होगी. So there are these misconceptions of going to forums. Obviously, you want advice from somebody who's been through the process. मगर हो सकता है कि उनकी situation आपसे different हो. So always go to the source, cic.gc.ca, or one of us, or all these consultants that are regulated, licensed consultants are the best source for information.
That's very true. Very well said. कि source के पीछे जाएं.
जी.
You always go for a source. Yes, you can generally research कर सकते हैं हम. People do that. That's okay.
Yeah.
But as a matter of fact, जो website IRCC की website है, very interesting, and I'm making a comment. That is
Right.
also not a law.
Right.
It says very clearly on the website that for any legal advice, you have to consult a licensed practitioner or go to IRPA, which is Immigration Refugee Protection Act.
Right.
Website is not itself a law, it's a guide.
It's a guide, but it gives you details of which relevant section of the Immigration Act.
Yes.
So it gives you the
Some idea.
guidelines of the process, but try to stay away from these forums in which obviously people give advice based on their own experiences.
Yes. I think you should go for a legal advice,
Right.
not just advice, because this is a legal process.
Right.
You are going through a legal process to Canada. This application going to process through a legal system.
Right.
एक IRPA का regulation है.
Regulation.
तो obvious सी बात है, जब आपको एक legal काम के लिए जरूरत है, legal बंदा चाहिए आपको.
Right.
You can talk to people, but they're going to confuse you, in my opinion.
Too much information is a dangerous
It's
thing.
really misinformation actually.
जी. So how many intakes in a year?
Canada has, generally speaking, 3 intakes. The largest one, September intake, which is right now going on,
Right.
which is fall intake. That's a lot of students come in. I would say 60-70% students takes in, because there are more programs
Right.
available in September intake.
So how much time frame should one give when applying for a particular intake?
Depend from which country they're applying. Every country has
इसकी क्या
different.
वजह है?
I think processing time is different, varies करते हैं. I would say still plan well in advance. I would say 3-4 months minimum, because the process starts from getting offer letter first from a college or a university. University takes 8-9 months
Wow.
to get offer letter. Colleges are kind of comparatively more faster. I would say 1 month, depending on college to college.
Right.
So 1 month give and take आप रख दें offer letter के लिए. Then you have to do other stuff. GIC है, आपको tuition fee transfer करनी है. That's you have to open up account for GIC account खोलना है आपको. उसमें भी 2-3 weeks लग जाते हैं. फाइल प्रिपेयर करने में, फॉर्म भरने हैं, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है आपको, lot of stuff there. मेडिकल बुक करना है आपने. I would say about 4 months.
तो GIC का आपने जिक्र किया, वो थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन कीजिए, कि बहुत लोगों को कन्फ्यूजन होती है कि GIC अकाउंट पर ही बात है, क्यों खोलना है, कहाँ पे खोलना है, किसके नाम पे खोलना है, और इसकी क्या ज़रूरत है, इसकी वजह क्या है, why did they introduce this GIC and what exactly is the program जिसके अंदर आपको GIC अप्लाई करना होता है?
Very interesting. Actually, GIC is basically common term called Guaranteed Investment Certificate. Normally. So what happened many years ago, Canada introduced a category called SDS. उसे उन्होंने क्या किया कि स्टूडेंट डायरेक्ट स्ट्रीम.
Right.
उसका पर्पस ये था कि हाउ टू प्रोसेस स्टडी वीज़ास मोर क्विकली,
Okay.
more efficiently. In previous times, they were taking a lot of time. Like बच्चों के intakes मिस हो जाते थे.
Right.
एक बच्चे ने अप्लाई सितंबर के लिए किया हुआ है, अब वीज़ा उसका नहीं आया अभी, तो then they have to defer from
The
September
admission,
to
yeah.
next.
Yeah.
So they realize that because IRCC love students, they bring a lot of money, they bring billions of dollars to economy. So obviously they are very important economically
Of
speaking.
course.
So उन्होंने क्या किया कि एक SDS कैटेगरी क्रिएट किया, उस पर सर्टन कंट्रीज को ऐड किया. पाकिस्तान को भी उन्होंने रिसेंटली किया. There are 4-5
India भी
countries.
है, पाकिस्तान भी
Yeah,
है, China,
is there,
Vietnam.
Vietnam is there. They are adding more countries recently.
Right.
Brazil and some other country. वो पर्पस ये था कि फास्ट प्रोसेसिंग हो. It takes about 3 weeks.
Wow, 3
Within
weeks.
3 weeks they're going to process the file.
So if all the,
Pre-COVID.
so if all the requirements are met,
Yes.
and hopefully we're over this COVID,
One of the requirements is GIC.
GIC.
The purpose of GIC is to cover living expenses. कि बच्चे ने $10,000 के GIC का अकाउंट खोलना है from their home country. So once they open the account, they come here, they go to the bank. That's a Scotia Bank. It's very popular. CIBC very popular. So आपके parents आपके behalf पे उसमें deposit करेंगे $10,000 Canadian, and when you come here, the bank gonna give you every month $800
So how
to cover
will they,
living expenses.
so but Dash, how will they open up accounts staying in their own country?
Yeah, it's online.
It's all online.
It's everything online. Very straightforward. It takes about 2 to 3 days. GSA account खोलना, that is one of the requirements to apply under SDS category. That is one requirement. It's a benefit. When students come here, so they don't have to worry about first year living expenses. You know, तो living expenses आपको वहीं से every month बैंक आपको देता रहता है.
So the GIC is meant for living expenses, not for the tuition fee.
No, tuition fees is paid separately. और SDS में जो if you want to avail the faster processing time 3 weeks, उसके लिए 3 requirements हैं. Number 1, GIC, you have to buy upfront. Obviously, first you have to get offer letter, right?
Right.
Then you have to follow GIC. The second thing, you must pay the college the first year 2 semester fees. First year 2 semester fees around $15,000-16,000
Depending on the program.
College program. So एक तो आपने 1 साल का वो फीस पे करना है upfront. Then second GIC. Third requirement is IELTS. IELTS, your IELTS band cannot be less than 6. It has to be each in 6. Listening, writing, speaking, you know.
At least 6.
Minimum. That is the standard. So अगर ये 3 चीज़ें आपकी meet होती हैं, then you are eligible to apply for SDS category.
If your country is one of the countries in the list.
If the country is, and you are living in that country, you're not abroad. That's another technical point.
Wow.
I get a lot of questions. Let's say I got a student from India. He's living in Malaysia.
Okay.
He's working there.
Okay.
India is part of SDS, but his file is not through SDS now because he's not physically living in India.
That's a very important point. I did not know that actually.
Now you know that.
And now I know. Now I know.
So we're educating ourselves, right?
Of course.
The purpose of this program is just to educate, you know.
Educate everyone.
Very simple.
Yeah.
So that's very important point. People should know if they are not in their country of origin. Let's say if Pakistan citizen is applying from Pakistan, then SDS.
Okay, so here's a question. Again, now a technical question for you.
Sure.
So this student, say
From Malaysia?
Yeah, a student who holds an Indian passport, he's living in Malaysia. Can he put his application in New Delhi? Because his country of origin is New Delhi.
And that's another very interesting question.
Can he do that?
Okay, nowadays what's happening due to COVID, there are a lot of redistribution of work. So once we submit the file online, there's no paper file by the way.
Right.
There used to be paper files. So now you can't submit paper files. It has to be online.
Right.
So once you submit your file, hit the button.
It's out of your hands.
You don't know.
You don't know.
And suddenly you get a request error. Oh, Beijing? Excuse me?
I've had that.
Singapore? Wow. Poland, Warsaw?
From Warsaw.
Ukraine, UK? So no one knows actually. I mean, if you are in India, then obviously it's going to be processed in India. But guess what? A lot of SDS file for Indian student getting processed from Ottawa, Edmonton, some New Delhi. But their redistribution, the workload is being shared.
Okay, but the requirement is that if you are from a country that's under the SDS list, you have to be residing in that country.
You
when
must be
apply.
residing in that country. Yes.
That's very important.
Otherwise, the file goes automatic to non-SDS.
Non-SDS, which goes into a longer
regular
queue.
stream, 3
you know.
months.
Okay. Now, you said there are 3 requirements for the SDS. Obviously, your country has to be in the list.
That's the
and you
fourth
have your LOA, letter of acceptance. You have the GIC. You have the
language proficiency test.
No, you have the GIC.
And the full year fees.
Full year fees.
Upfront.
And then the third thing that Bash mentioned was IELTS. IELTS जो है वो that's like a thorn
It is
in our foot.
backbone.
It's actually a thorn and backbone.
Both.
Thorn because बहुत ज़्यादा students ऐसे होते हैं जो IELTS को नहीं करना चाहते या कर नहीं सकते या they're a bit hesitant क्योंकि IELTS जो है वो आम सोच में आता है कि academic IELTS ही चाहिए students के लिए.
That's true.
उसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा बताइए.
Well, it's always been there. They prefer because you're studying to Canada.
Right.
So if you're coming to apply under express entry, you're coming as a skilled worker.
Right.
Then you have to get general test.
Right.
But student is academic, yes. That is one. Then another test also. If you can't do, and if you can't do IELTS, then there is another alternative. You can do PTE.
PTE.
PTE, and there is another one. It's called Duolingo and TOEFL. There are multiple tests acceptable.
So all these tests are acceptable for the institutions as well as for IELTS?
Yes.
Interesting.
Duolingo is very iffy. Duolingo is not very popular yet. It's an online test.
So what does PTE stand for? What
It's
is that
a
test?
Pearson test of English.
Okay.
It's another format of language proficiency. Same like IELTS, but IELTS has more reputation. It's been there forever.
Because it may not be available in the country
In
where
certain
you
countries, yes, yeah, you're right.
Right,
Like
so-
India has a lot of centers. Like when you do for आप जाते हैं ना coaching के लिए जाते हैं IELTS के
Right.
center. So there are some teachers they do PTE as well.
live. अच्छा अच्छा.
That is also common. So both are acceptable. But interestingly, PTE is not acceptable under SDS category. only IELTS accepted.
These are very technical things. I would not touch a student file without him by my side, and I don't think you guys should either.
Yeah, it can become tricky. Yeah.
It can become tricky. फिर क्या होता है, एक दफ़ा refusal हो जाए फिर क्या होता है? अब first करें, imagine करें, assume करें, somebody did all their, ticked all the boxes, submitted the application, and then they get this email, officer is not satisfied, study permit refused.
It is
What
very
now?
common.
What
Very
now?
common. Yeah. So a couple of options. General perception क्या है, बच्चे क्या करते हैं? They get scared, they get nervous, and they reapply.
Immediately बल्कि.
I mean, maybe next day.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of agents, they're not authorized, right? We should talk about those part as well.
Yeah.
With the same token that outside Canada, there are a lot of agents who are not authorized by Government of Canada, right? Unlike us, we are authorized by IRCC to represent clients for student.
Right.
तो एजेंट लोग क्या करते हैं कि वो कहते हैं फिक्र ना करें जी, डोंट वरी, क्या अपने टाइम ज़ाया करना, दोबारा लगा देते हैं फाइल, वो दोबारा फिर रिफ्यूज़ हो जाती है, बिकॉज यू आर शूटिंग दैट्स इन ए ब्लाइंडली, आप यू आर नॉट डायग्नोजिंग इट. व्हेन यू गेट अ रिफ्यूजल लेटर, इट्स अ वेरी स्टैंडर्ड लेटर, इट्स कॉल्ड फॉर्म लेटर,
It's a very a template.
Very general
Tick
template.
tick tick.
you know, you've been visa officer,
मैंने कितने किए थे tick
you
tick
have,
tick.
so just tick tick tick, but that doesn't tell what happened at the back. So उसके लिए हमें एक्सेस करनी होती है उसके GCM नोट्स, ATIP जिस कहते हैं, that takes about 3 to 4 weeks. So if unfortunately किसी का वीज़ा रिफ्यूज़ हो गया है, मेरी तो उनको ये स्ट्रॉन्गली रिकमेंडेशन है कि प्लीज़ डू नॉट जंप, breathe, have patience, don't reapply until you really diagnose your file.
कि क्यों refuse?
Why?
Right.
It's like you know, go to doctor. Do you think they're gonna give you medicine just by checking how you're feeling, everything okay? That's fine. No, they're gonna run you test, right? Blood test, ये test, X-ray करो, ये करो, you know,
और कुछ
ultrasound.
डॉक्टर्स तो IQ टेस्ट भी करते हैं.
There you go. So you tell me, the doctor same concept है कि आप पहले अपनी फाइल को रिव्यू कर लें,
Right.
उसके रीजन को समझें कि what was the fundamental reason behind that refusal.
Refusal.
Then और मजे की बात है कि आप रिफ्यूजल लेटर के नीचे लिखा होता है वेरी क्लियरली, ऑफिसर के नोट्स हैं, इन टाइपिंग, यू आर फील फ्री टू अप्लाई इफ यू कैन एड्रेस दिस कंसर्न्स. मगर कंसर्न तो आपने बताई नहीं लेटर में.
असल में जब रिफ्यूजल आता है ना बैश,
जी, तो बंदा
तो देख के
obviously-
परेशान होता है, पूरा लेटर तो ध्यान पड़ता ही नहीं है.
जी जी,
वो रिफ्यूज को देख के नहीं भाई इसको ना 2 पीस कर देता है
I mean
कि ये क्या हो गया.
I can understand.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
But the best thing कि आप उसको ना पहले उसकी फाइल को एक्सेस करें अपनी ऑटोवा से. It takes about 3-4 weeks.
Right.
Get the reasons and then try to fix those reasons and then reply.
Right.
That's the best approach. Don't just apply.
अच्छा, एटिप नोट्स के बारे में मैंने पहले भी शोज में बताया कि एटिप नोट्स जो हैं ऑफिसर ने एप्लीकेशन पे डिसीजन करते वक्त जो भी नोट्स लिखे होते हैं, वी गेट एक्सेस टू दैट, वी गेट ऑल द नोट्स, बट समटाइम्स वो इतने इजीली अंडरस्टैंडेबल नहीं होते, लैंग्वेज ऐसे होती है, तो इट्स मच बेटर आइदर यू गो टू समबडी हु हैज़ द एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ assessing those notes.
Yeah, that's technical language.
There's very technical language and then you can't read between the lines. ऑफिसर ने जो कुछ लिखा है उनके बिहाइंड उसकी मीनिंग्स क्या है, राइट? बिकॉज ऑफिसर्स आर नॉट अलाउड टू बी बायस्ड और जजमेंटल और प्रेजुडिस और racist. They cannot. That's what the officers are trained to do. I used to be one, so I know how officers are trained. But still, while reading the notes, we can assess. Okay, next time apply करें, so these are the holes in the application that we have to plug.
You got to get your X-ray done.
Right.
And then only you can figure out, you know, कि मेरा ये कोई वाकई फ्रैक्चर है, कैसे ही हल्की सी मोच आई है,
हल्की मोच आई है,
कोई हल्का फुल्का काम है, तो इस बेटर टू डू डायग्नोस्टिक कर लें पहले.
एक छोटा सवाल है, इसका थोड़ा सा सेगवे करते हैं कि दोबारा अप्लाई करते वक्त
जी,
should one change the program or the institution or just stick with that?
yeah,
Because there's 2 schools of thought about that. आपकी क्या हाल है?
that's a very very smart question. So ideally, again, depending on reasons of the refusal, let's say the most common reason you can see that your program of the program you selected, it doesn't match your academic background.
Right.
आपने पहले कुछ और किया हुआ है, कोर्स कुछ और ले रहे हैं, then it's very obvious कि you have to change the course. Someone misguided you, right? कि आपकी अगर let's say commerce background है, you know, आपने BBA किया है या +2 में आपने commerce पढ़ी हुई है, तो then you're gonna go for business program, right?
Right.
If someone has studied math, physics, chemistry, they're gonna go engineering program. Now obviously if you have done math study किया है और आप commerce या hospitality का course ले रहे हैं tourism में, that no match.
There's no match, but इंसान अपनी अपनी field change भी तो कर सकता है. I mean, I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
Actually, the officers don't care about that changing.
Okay.
They go by the rules.
Okay.
So the rule is clear. Okay, show me your academic progression.
There should be
Academic progression.
there should be an upward progression,
It has to make sense because you are spending a lot of money.
right?
तो उनका माइंड है कि यार तुम 15-16 डॉलर एक सेमेस्टर पहले साल का पे करके ऑल द वे कमिंग फ्रॉम
Wherever you're coming
वेयर
from.
कमिंग फ्रॉम
Yeah.
व्हाई नंबर 1 व्हाई कनाडा व्हाई दिस प्रोग्राम व्हाई नॉट इन योर कंट्री व्हाई नॉट इन अदर कंट्री सो यू हैव
Which
टू
is
राइट
closer, which is even cheaper. Why not?
You spending a lot of money but benefit how this program gonna help you academically and career progression क्या होगी आपकी so वो एक ना वो तालमेल क्या होता है वो मिलना चाहिए
Yeah.
it's a combination of everything
Yeah.
so if something is mismatched they're gonna see that
The officers actually in every application, and I say to my clients all the time, and Bash has heard it from me that officer look at the aerial picture, aerial view of the whole application. वो किसी एक segment को नहीं देखते कि आपने फीस पे कर दिया, letter of acceptance मिल गया, GIC हो गई है, you know, we should approve it.
No,
They look
that's
at the whole picture कि does it make sense?
देखिए अगर ऐसा हो ना तो फिर मेरा ख्याल है कि एवरी एप्लीकेशन शुड बी अप्रूव्ड क्योंकि चेकलिस्ट के ऊपर आपने एसडीएस में कहा कि आइल्स भी कर लिया टिक कर लिया एलओए आ गया डीएलआई से आ गया मैंने अपना आइल्स कर लिया मैं अपने कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन में अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ पूरे साल का फीस पे कर दिया देन एसडीएस की पूरी होगी ना रिक्वायरमेंट तो वीज़ा सबको तो नहीं मिलता ना इट मीन स्टिल दिस जैसे आपने बड़ा वेरी नाइसली आपने पुट किया दे स्टिल वांट टू मेक श्योर कि यू स्पेंडिंग लॉट ऑफ मनी यू गो टू न्यू कंट्री न्यू कल्चर न्यू वेदर न्यू लैंग्वेज why you gonna spend what how are you gonna benefit
So here's my 2 cents as a former immigration officer. It's a two-pronged test that the officer looks at when approving study permit applications. The applicant has to be a genuine visitor, and then they look at the study part, right?
so that's a good
Wow, I really like this conversation and I hope you guys are taking notes. लेकिन अभी हमें एक छोटी सी ब्रेक के लिए जाना है. ब्रेक के बाद हम बात करेंगे open work permit for international students,
Yes.
as well as do's and don'ts. क्या करना चाहिए और क्या नहीं करना चाहिए. So we'll be right back. Please don't go away. We're going for a break.
thank you
जिंदगी शम्मा की सूरत हो खुदाया मेरी।
मुस्लिम वेलफेयर सेंटर के जरिए आप पाकिस्तान के रेगिस्तान में प्यासों को पानी पिला सकते हैं, गरीब बच्चों की तालीम और माली परवरिश कर सकते हैं, बीमारों का मुफ्त इलाज करवा सकते हैं। ज़कात, सदक़ात या फिदिया देने के लिए आज ही हमें फोन करें 1-866-754-3111।
Muslim Welfare Canada has made a concerted effort to lead the fight against child labor, poverty, and illiteracy in third world countries through the generous support of our donors. Both girls and boys receive free, good quality education. Help educate a needy child for just $1 a day or $30 per month. Donate generously. Call 1-866-754-3111 or visit mwcanada.org. Since 1993, MWC food banks have provided individuals and families with non-perishable food, halal meat, and essential household items. We have a special focus on the needs of our children. Over 10,000 families across Canada rely on MWC food banks to supplement their food requirements. We serve in Scarborough, Mississauga, and in First Nations communities in Ontario, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. Your generosity can literally change lives. It's time now, more than ever, to look after your neighbor. Charity starts at home. Please donate generously to Muslim Welfare Canada Emergency COVID-19 Food Fund. Call 1-866-754-3111 or visit mwcanada.org.
जिंदगी शम्मा की सूरत हो खुदाया मेरी।
मुस्लिम वेलफेयर सेंटर के जरिए आप पाकिस्तान के रेगिस्तान में प्यासों को पानी पिला सकते हैं, गरीब बच्चों की तालीम और माली परवरिश कर सकते हैं, बीमारों का मुफ्त इलाज करवा सकते हैं। ज़कात, सदक़ात या फिदिया देने के लिए आज ही हमें फ़ोन करें 1-866-754-3111।
Welcome back after the break. You're watching Immigration and Settlement on Voice of Toronto TV. हम बात कर रहे हैं आज इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स की। दो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें रह गई हैं। एक तो ओपन वर्क परमिट फॉर स्पाउसेस। बहुत लोगों की सोच होती है कि कब अप्लाई करना चाहिए, स्टडी परमिट के साथ ही अप्लाई करना चाहिए स्पाउस का ओपन वर्क परमिट, बाद में अप्लाई करना चाहिए, करना भी चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए, थोड़ा सा बताइए।
Yeah, it is a very common question I do get from students. Yeah, they are eligible.
Eligible है।
Yeah, they are eligible.
So it's not automatic.
No, not automatic.
बहुत लोगों की सोच ऐसी होती है कि ऑटोमेटिक ही होता है।
No, not at all. Obviously, as per Immigration Refugee Protection Act, spouses are allowed, and a lot of spouses do come. They travel with the kids, with the wives, spouses, just to initial support, and IRCC recognize that. If someone is coming from all the way, different cultures, so I think spouse accompanied with them is a moral support, right?
Actually, फैमिली रीयूनिफिकेशन इज वन ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ इमिग्रेशन। एक फैमिली को इकट्ठे रखना, साथ रखना, पर ये है कि एलिजिबल हैं बट स्टिल इट हैज़ टू बी अ स्ट्रॉन्ग एप्लीकेशन। अजम्पशंस नहीं करनी चाहिए कि इफ समवनस मैरिड एंड हैज़ 2 kids तो आप मैरिज सर्टिफिकेट ना लगाएं। Never assume, right?
No, there is no assumption in immigration.
No assumptions.
No, there is no, not at all. It's all black and white.
Black and white.
उसका एक फॉर्मेट है, उसका एक डॉक्यूमेंट है, चेकलिस्ट है, आप उसको फॉलो करें. Don't assume anything, obviously.
Right.
Just go by the rule, go by the book.
Go by
It's very simple. It's everything is transparent.
अगर कोई चीज़ नहीं आ रही समझ, हम लोग बैठे हैं ना.
Ask question. Don't assume, don't take risk, don't say, oh, then it's too late.
Too late.
Ignorance can't be, they say, well, मुझे पता नहीं था, मुझे किसी ने बताया नहीं. No, you are on the hook.
You're on the hook.
It's your file, not the agent. Right?
Not the agents, not your friends, not your brothers, not your neighbors.
No Google.
Not Google's.
No groups, nothing. No social media. It's
Yeah.
your file. You have to make sure. It's same example मैं देता हूँ. When you boarding a plane, it's your suitcase.
Yeah.
You can't say to the custom officer, look, I don't know who packed it. Hey, I don't care. It's under your boarding pass, sir. This stuff is not allowed. You are responsible.
You're responsible.
You can't say मैंने पैक नहीं किया, किसी और ने पैक किया, मुझे याद नहीं था, मैं थका हुआ था, मैं सो गया, मेरी बहन ने पैक कर दिया. सर आपके साथ बैग आपका ही है? हाँ जी मेरा बैग है जी. भुगतो उन फिर. So no, spouse, yes, they are eligible to apply. If obviously if they have all those factors,
Yeah.
the officer will consider. They are eligible.
आपके लिए आखिरी सवाल ये है, do's and don'ts of a study permit application. Briefly, because I have a very important update to give to all of you जिन्होंने parents और grandparents की EOI file किया है. So don't go away. लेकिन ये आखिरी सवाल पूछते हैं.
Okay, so yeah, that's good one. So very simple के complete जो document checklist है, उसको follow करें. If anything missing, file will be incomplete. It's not going to process. It's going to be returned. You're going to waste your time. So make sure it's complete. And very importantly, all the questions and forms के ऊपर answer truthfully, because there's a serious consequences. Especially a lot of students, they knowingly, unknowingly, I don't know, they sometimes don't disclose prior refusals. जैसे विजिट वीज़ा अप्लाई किया 5 साल पहले किसी ने, अब वो स्टडी वीज़ा कर रहे हैं, पहले रिफ्यूज़ हुआ, आपने उसको डिस्क्लोज नहीं किया. और यूएसए का वीज़ा, यूके का वीज़ा, किसी और कंट्री का वीज़ा,
किसी और कंट्री का भी, दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
especially यूएसए, यूके, न्यूजीलैंड, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, बिकॉज कनाडा they have sharing biometric sharing system. इन चारों में अगर वीज़ा रिफ्यूज़ हुआ है, वैसे तो सबका ही बताएं, तो फुल डिस्क्लोजर, अदरवाइज 5 years बैन,
5 years
मिसरिप्रेजेंटेशन, सेक्शन 40 टू सीरियस. सो ये तो मस्ट है कि आपने इसको करना है. और उसका जो नहीं करना चाहिए, वो ये कि रिफ्यूज़ल हो गया अगर अनफॉर्चुनेटली, तो डोंट जस्ट शूट द गन, डोंट जस्ट रीअप्लाई, गेट एक्सेस द नोट, जैसे हमने पहले भी कहा, अपने नोट्स मंगाइए, उसको स्टडी करें, किसी को चेक करवाएं, उसके रीज़न को फिक्स करें, देन रीअप्लाई,
Right.
डोंट जस्ट अप्लाई.
I really appreciate, and I think we all do, for you so making time and coming to the studio for us.
आई एम सो एक्साइटेड टू बी हियर.
हम आपको दोबारा भी ज़हमत देंगे, लेकिन अभी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मुझे अपडेट
I'm
देनी
also
है
looking
viewers
forward
को.
to that.
Okay. ऐसा है कि फॉर ऑल द व्यूअर्स जिन्होंने अपने पेरेंट्स या ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स को एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट फाइल किया था लास्ट फॉल में, अक्टूबर से लेकर नवंबर तक जो विंडो ओपन हुई थी पेरेंट ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स स्पॉन्सरशिप की, अभी कल से मतलब आज की रिकॉर्डिंग जो है उससे एक दिन पहले 20 जुलाई को द मिनिस्टर अनाउंस्ड कि दे विल बी एक्सेप्टिंग अप टू 30,000 additional applications. 30,000.
वाओ, न्यू कैप.
30,000. पिछले साल there were 10,000. This is
Yes.
30,000 additional. It will be from the same pool. उसी pool में से आपको दोबारा EOI ने नहीं फाइल करना, वो तो विंडो ही बंद हो गई, ठीक है. तो उसी pool में से 30,000 एप्लीकेशन जो हैं वो एक्सेप्ट होंगी
They're going to pick from the same pool.
from the same pool.
That's very fair.
And now the thing is कि because not everybody will apply, वो 30,000 से ज़्यादा की invitations भेजेंगे. Invitations आपकी email पे आएंगे. So make sure कि you keep a check on your emails from these 2 weeks. आप please note लिखिए September 20th से लेकर October 1st तक. These 2 weeks are the ones in which invitations will be sent to sponsors
Wow.
to submit applications for their parents and grandparents. मैं दोबारा बता देती हूँ September 20th से लेके October 1st.
So it's coming this year now, in next 2 months.
Next 2 months, so keep an eye on your email, junk mail check करें, spam check करें. Don't miss the invitation. That's once in a lifetime.
It's wonderful. Wow.
Now the other thing, you will have 60 days to apply if you do get the invitation. Now, and you will be able to take part in something that's very new. Immigration ने, IRCC ने ये कोविड की वजह से काफ़ी चीज़ों को ना ऑनलाइन कर दिया. यानी कि सिटीजनशिप का टेस्ट ऑनलाइन हो गया, PR इनलैंड PR की confirmation ऑनलाइन हो
It's
गई.
online, yes.
Now, parent grandparents की invitation जिनको आएगी, they can submit the application by PR digital intake tool.
Interesting. Wow.
This is something very new. So अगर आपको invitation आती है, so please go ahead, make sure you meet the requirements, make sure you submit the application within the 60 days. If you need any assistance, you have my name, you have my number on the screen, and I can assist you, or you can call the studio का number भी आपके पास है, or simply send me an email. So yes, 30,000 more applications for parents.
Congratulations.
30,000 more applications. That's additional applications. ठीक है जी.
I think it's 30,000 families. Rather.
30,000 application means 30,000 families.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Like you said, family unification.
Family unification, one of the main objectives.
I think it's the cornerstone of Canada immigration system.
Absolutely.
And that
absolutely.
they're delivering it.
So this is a huge news I wanted to share with you. अपनी emails का ध्यान रखिए from the weeks of September 20th to October 1st. और आपको invitation आती है. So make sure you meet the requirements. Make sure you submit the application within 60 days, and you will take part in the PR digital intake tool to submit your parents or grandparents'
I
application.
think make sure, just want to add some my few cents. I noticed a lot of people they miss emails because it's sitting in junk or spam.
बिल्कुल.
Please keep checking
ठीक.
spam.
Absolutely. Keep checking spam and keep checking our show every Saturday, 8 p.m. on Voice of Toronto TV. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.
Thank you so much.
Good night.